Imagine this. Robert Johnson from Phoenix, Arizona thought he was making a smart move by claiming his Social Security benefits the moment he turned 62. "I've paid into the system for decades," he told himself. "It is time to get my money back." 3 years later, Robert sits at his kitchen table, calculator in hand, facing a startling reality. His hasty decision will cost him over $100,000 in lifetime benefits. His voice trembles as he tells me, "If I had only understood the math before I signed those papers. What if one signature could slash your retirement income by 30% for the rest of your life? What if that quick decision at 62 undermines decades of careful financial planning?" This is the hidden six-figure decision millions of Americans get wrong every year. The choice of when to claim Social Security benefits is perhaps the most consequential and largely irreversible financial decision most Americans will make. The stakes are enormous. For many, the difference between claiming at 62 and waiting until full retirement age or later can easily exceed $100,000 in lifetime benefits. Yet this crucial decision is often clouded by the powerful psychological pull of immediate cash flow. The idea of receiving a guaranteed government check as soon as possible can be irresistible, especially after a long career. This impulse, however, frequently leads to what experts call claim regret. Recent data indicates that a staggering 37% of Americans regret taking their benefits early once the long-term financial consequences become painfully clear. This widespread regret signals a fundamental disconnect between short-term gratification and long-term security. Today we are going to dissect the 3 critical warning signs that claiming Social Security at 62 might be a catastrophic financial mistake. By examining the mathematics behind benefit reductions, the real costs of a modern retirement, and the profound impact on loved ones, this video aims to provide a clear roadmap to making a more informed and secure decision. The first and most fundamental error when claiming Social Security at 62 is failing to understand the magnitude, permanence, and compounding nature of the benefit reduction. Far from being a small trade-off for a few extra years of payments, it has a permanent pay cut that worsens over time, eroding financial security for decades. For anyone born in 1960 or later, full retirement age, FRA, is 67. Claiming benefits at the earliest possible age, 62, triggers a permanent 30% reduction from your primary insurance amount, PIA, the benefit amount you would receive at your FRA. The Social Security Administration doesn't choose this number arbitrarily. It is calculated using a precise formula, a reduction of 0.59% for each of the first 36 months before FRA, and an additional reduction of 5 to 12% for each month beyond that. To illustrate the impact, consider Thomas Anderson from Raleigh, whose FRA benefit would be $2,000 monthly. By claiming at 62, his monthly benefit is permanently reduced to $1,400. This isn't a temporary penalty that disappears when you reach FRA. It is a $600 monthly reduction, or $7,200 annually, that persists for the rest of the retiree's life. A frequently overlooked aspect that compounds the initial error is how annual cost of living adjustments, COLAs, work. These adjustments are designed to protect the purchasing power of benefits against inflation, but they reapplied as a percentage on top of your current benefit amount. This creates a compounding effect that causes the income gap between an early claimer and an FRA claimer not to remain static, but to actively widen each year. The process works as follows. Claiming early establishes a permanently lower base benefit. COLAs are applied as a percentage to that base. 3% COLA on a $1,400 benefit results in a $42 increase. The same 3% COLA on a $2,000 benefit results in a $60 increase. After the COLA, the new benefits are $1,442s and $2,060s, and the difference has grown from $600 to $618 monthly. This effect compounds annually, transforming what began as a $7,200 annual difference into a $10,000+ annual difference over a 25-year retirement, purely due to how COLAs function. In our next section, we'll explore how this permanently reduced income collides with the substantial and growing costs of a modern retirement. creating a perfect storm that can devastate your financial security. When we left off, we were examining how the permanent 30% reduction in benefits creates a growing income gap over time. But the story gets worse when we connect this reduced income stream to the actual costs you face in retirement. The second critical warning sign that claiming at 62 is a mistake appears when you ignore the real costs of retirement, underestimating longevity, healthcare expenses, and inflation. Many approach the claiming decision through a simplistic break-even analysis. This calculation determines the age at which the total value of benefits received by waiting surpasses the total received by claiming early. Typically, this age falls between the late 70s and early 80s. The flawed logic suggests that if you expect to live beyond this age, claiming early seems like a win. However, this approach dangerously overlooks the primary purpose of Social Security: longevity insurance. The catastrophic financial risk for most retirees isn't dying too soon, but living too long and depleting their other assets. Recent CDC data reveals that a 65-year-old man today has an average life expectancy of 83.2 years, 18.2 more years, and a 65-year-old woman can expect to live to 85.7, 20.7 more years. This means there is a high likelihood of living well beyond the typical break-even point. Consider Margaret Baker from Tampa, who claimed her benefits at 62, believing her family history of heart problems meant a shorter lifespan. At 88, she now faces serious financial strain, having outlived her projections by over a decade. Her permanently reduced benefit leaves her vulnerable to rising costs, with few options to increase her income. Delaying Social Security isn't merely a gamble on longevity. It was purchasing a guaranteed inflation-adjusted annuity with a return almost impossible to replicate elsewhere. For each year you delay claiming after FRA until age 70, your benefit permanently increases by 8%. This is a risk-free, government-backed return that protects against the risk of living into your 90s or beyond. Viewing the decision only through a break-even lens ignores the enormous insurance value of the larger payment. For those planning to claim at 62 while continuing to work, there is an additional trap: Social Security's earnings test. In 2025, for those below FRA throughout the year, the SSA will withhold $1 in benefits for every $2 earned above the $23,400 limit. While these withheld benefits are sound permanently lost, they were credited back at FRA, resulting in a slightly higher monthly benefit. The situation negates the primary reason for claiming early. The individual bears a permanent reduction in their benefit base, while simultaneously having their cash flow further restricted. The most immediate challenge for early claimers is the healthcare coverage gap. Medicare eligibility doesn't begin until age 65. Retiring and claiming Social Security at 62 forces individuals to obtain private health insurance for 3 years. During this period, premiums can be prohibitively expensive, especially for older adults, and may consume a large portion of the newly claimed and already reduced Social Security benefit. Even after Medicare begins, costs continue to be a significant burden. Fidelity US 2025 estimate reveals a staggering figure. A single 65-year-old retiree can expect to spend on average $170,500 in direct healthcare costs during retirement. For a couple, that number doubles to $345,000. This estimate, which assumes enrollment in Original Medicare, Parts A and B and Part D, doesn't include the biggest financial threat of all: long-term care, LTC. LTC represents the financial black hole of retirement. The costs are astronomical and can wipe out a lifetime of savings in the blink of an eye. The 2024 national median annual costs were $70,800 for an assisted living facility and over $127,750 for a private room in a nursing home. A reduced Social Security benefit offers virtually no defense against an expense of this magnitude, making lifetime asset depletion almost inevitable for many requiring care. William Chen from Boston learned this lesson the hard way. After claiming his reduced benefit at 62, he found himself needing long-term care at 78. His permanently reduced Social Security check covered less than 25% of his monthly care costs, forcing his family to rapidly deplete his savings and eventually sell his home. Returning to the COLA discussion from our first section, while COLAs offer some protection against inflation, a smaller benefit base means less protection in absolute dollar terms. During periods of high inflation, this can lead to a rapid decline in real purchasing power. The reduced income of an early claimer is more vulnerable to being eroded by rising costs of essential goods and services, making it increasingly difficult to maintain a stable standard of living. In our next section, we'll explore perhaps the most emotionally significant warning sign: how claiming early can devastate your spouse's financial future long after you're gone. Perhaps the most critical and emotionally resonant error is making the claiming decision in isolation, without understanding its profound impact on your spouse's financial future. This transforms what seems like a personal financial choice into a legacy planning act that can either secure or compromise a loved one's security for decades. It is essential to understand the crucial difference between a spousal benefit and a survivor benefit. The spousal benefit, which can be up to 50% of the worker's benefit at FRA, is calculated based on the worker's PIA. Therefore, the worker's decision to claim early and receive a reduced benefit doesn't diminish the potential spousal benefit. However, the rule for the survivor benefit is entirely different, and here lies the trap. The survivor benefit is based on the actual benefit amount the worker was receiving at the time of death. When the higher-earning spouse claims Social Security at 62, they were not just making a decision about their own income. They were making an irreversible decision about their surviving spouse's future standard of living. Consider this scenario. James Wilson, a financial analyst from Denver, claimed his benefit at 62, receiving $1,750 monthly instead of his $2,500 FRA benefit. When James passed away at 74, his wife Linda was left with a permanently reduced survivor benefit. Had James delayed until 70, he would have locked in a $3,100 benefit, 124% of PIA. That much larger amount would have become Linda's survivor benefit, providing significantly more secure income during one of the most vulnerable periods of her life. The statistics make this even more compelling. Women typically outlive men, and due to lifetime earnings disparities and time out of the workforce for family caregiving, often have lower earnings, making them more dependent on survivor benefits. When the higher-earning spouse passes away, family income drops dramatically as the smaller of the two Social Security checks disappears. The survivor is entitled to receive 100% of the deceased spouse's benefit if it is larger than their own. If the higher-earning spouse claimed at 62, they were locked in a permanently reduced benefit. This reduced amount becomes the surviving spouse's maximum income for the rest of their life. By contrast, by delaying until 70, the higher-earning spouse could have locked in a benefit of 124% of their PIA. This much larger amount would become the survivor's benefit, acting as a powerful form of life insurance and ensuring a much more secure income for perhaps a decade or more. The decision to claim early therefore represents a direct trade-off between having a bit more money as a couple for a few years versus ensuring the surviving partner has a much higher, more secure income during one of the most vulnerable periods of their life. Delaying the higher-earning spouse's benefit is one of the most powerful tools for providing long-term financial security to one's partner, and claiming early effectively discards this tool. For completeness, it is worth noting the rules for divorced spouses. An individual may be eligible to receive benefits based on an ex-spouse's work record if the marriage lasted 10 years or more, if they are currently unmarried, and at least 62 years old. A crucial clarification is that claiming benefits based on an ex-spouse's record has absolutely no effect on the ex-spouse's benefit or that of their current spouse. Additionally, the ex-spouse is not notified of the claim, dispelling a common misconception and source of hesitation. While we've focused on the pitfalls, it is important to acknowledge that claiming at 62 isn't always a terrible mistake. In certain circumstances, it can be a logical and prudent decision, driven by personal realities that outweigh the financial benefits of delaying. If an individual has a diagnosed health condition or family history strongly suggesting a shorter than average life expectancy, the break-even analysis math reverses. The goal shifts from securing income for a long period to maximizing total benefits received over a shorter time frame. Many retirements are voluntary. They were forced by layoffs, corporate restructuring, personal health issues, or the need to care for an ill family member. For individuals without sufficient savings to cover expenses until FRA, Social Security at 62 becomes a necessary lifeline, not a strategic error. In our final section, we'll explore sophisticated claiming strategies for couples and provide a framework for making an empowered decision that fits your unique circumstances. For some couples, a sophisticated approach may involve the lower-earning spouse claiming early to provide family cash flow, while the higher-earning spouse delays until 70. This split strategy maximizes the largest benefit, which in turn maximizes the potential survivor benefit, securing the surviving spouse's long-term future while still providing some Social Security income in the early retirement years. Patricia Garcia and Richard Taylor from Seattle implemented this approach successfully. Patricia claimed at 62, providing initial retirement income, while Richard continued working part-time until 70. This strategy allowed them to minimize withdrawals from their investments, while ensuring Patricia would receive Richard's maximum benefit as a survivor benefit after his passing. For a small segment of retirees with substantial pensions, investment portfolios, or other guaranteed income streams, Social Security may represent a smaller portion of their overall plan. In these cases, claiming early might reduce the need to withdraw from investment accounts, allowing those assets to continue growing longer. This strategy, sometimes called the Vanguard argument, can potentially result in a larger total estate left to heirs, but is only appropriate for affluent retirees not at risk of running out of money. The decision of when to claim Social Security is complex, but avoiding the most common errors comes down to recognizing 3 clear warning signs. Claiming at 62 is likely a mistake if you've ignored the permanent and compounding pay cut that worsens each year. You've underestimated the real-world costs like healthcare and long-term care that this reduced income will need to cover. You've failed to protect your spouse's financial future by locking in a permanently smaller survivor benefit. For those who acted on impulse and now regret it, there is crucial practical information. The SSA allows a one-time withdrawal of a benefit application within the first 12 months of claiming. This functions as a do-over option, but requires repayment of all benefits you and your family received. It is a powerful escape valve for those with immediate claim regret. Ultimately, the goal isn't to prescribe a single answer, but to empower individuals to find their own. The path to an informed decision involves 3 actionable steps. Get your numbers. Create a My Social Security account at SSA Igomnaxus. This is the most important step, as it provides personalized benefit estimates based on your actual earnings record at ages 62, your FRA, and 70. Use the tools. The SSA offers a variety of free, detailed online calculators. Use these tools to run different scenarios, such as different retirement dates and future earnings levels, to understand the financial trade-offs. Have the conversation. The most critical step, especially for couples, is to discuss this decision openly. Model the impact not just on joint lifetime income, but more importantly on the survivor's income. Elizabeth Kim from Portland, now 68, shared her experience. When my husband and I sat down to make this decision, we realized it wasn't just about our retirement. It was about who would be left alone someday. That changed everything about our claiming strategy. The decision of when to claim Social Security isn't about getting your money as quickly as possible. It's about strategically deploying your most valuable retirement asset to ensure decades of security for you and your family. By understanding the 3 warning signs we've discussed today, you were now equipped to make this 6-figure decision with confidence and clarity. If you've found value in this strategic perspective on Social Security, please help others by liking this video and subscribing to our channel. We are committed to bringing you practical, actionable financial wisdom that cuts through conventional thinking. In the comments below, let us know which of these 3 warning signs was most surprising to you and what claiming age you are considering based on this information. Remember, this isn't just about maximizing a government benefit. It is about creating financial security that lasts a lifetime. Take control of your retirement strategy today by applying these principles to your own Social Security decision.